Not long ago, I was minding my own business doing something completely unrelated when I remembered a game from my childhood about a little angry ninja killing his sensei and fighting robots. It kinda dawned on me that I hadn't really heard of this game in many moons, so I got the urge to pick it back up and figure out if it's even worth remembering or if it was better off as a memory. And you, my charming, stunning dear viewer who is totally subscribed, are coming along with me. So let's get right on to iNinja for the PlayStation 2. iNinja is a 2003 action platformer developed by Argonaut Games, which are probably better known for Croc and co-developing Star Fox with Nintendo. The reason why I mentioned the sensei killing is because to this day I don't think I've ever seen an intro to a game that has left me as baffled as this one, just for the sheer vibe and energy of it. I guess it must have caused an impression because it never really left my memory. I don't know how to describe it, so I'll just show it to you.
No! Stay back! No! What have I done? Master, you're dead.
Your grasp of the obvious astounds.
It wasn't my fault.
Ninja killed his sensei because of a rage stone, and now it's his job to collect all said stones in order to defeat Odor, the leader of the robot dudes you fight in the game. Honestly, this is very much a PS2 era platformer, so plot is kept to a minimum, but it still makes enough sense to push you along to an end goal. This is not a serious game at all. I mean, you could probably guess that from the intro alone, but it never stops being silly until the end. Every piece of dialogue is supposed to be humorous, and it kept things on the light side, which was great for me to just relax and enjoy the gameplay. The dialogue is fully voiced and the deliveries continue this comedic tone.
Go investigate, and don't forget, a rolling stone wasn't built in a day.
It's all crystal now.
And when you inevitably skip any of it, Ninja shushes the dialogue, which I thought was such a fun way of doing something so easy to ignore as skipping the voice lines. It's a small thing, but it's in these small things that you see the love and care for a work, and iNinja has a lot of small details that add up to a huge difference in the feel of the world. The game is divided into missions that you access from various hub areas. These areas are so nice to look at. In particular, the first two I absolutely love. They have this cozy vibe that is hard to describe. To be fair, I think this game's level design overall is very pleasing, and some levels even made me stop and appreciate the mood of it all. My only complaint with it is that the second to last area is way too big, so it can get a bit tedious to navigate it, although the atmosphere makes up for it a little bit at least. The music also really elevates each area. I actually really digged it. It has this slight chaotic vibe mixed with a futuristic techie sound. But it can also be very calm and serene, a surprising highlight for me. In the before-mentioned missions, you platform and fight in various different levels, with some being much funner than others, but overall I would say they all hold a certain level of quality. Although I'm not really a huge fan of the last area and its missions, they're still okay at least though. As a ninja, you are equipped with some acrobatic abilities such as a double jump, grind on rails, wall run, wall jump, use a grapple to swing, you can even hover with your sword like Tails from Sonic. Some levels even have explosive darts and shuriken. It is worth mentioning that a lot of these skills are pretty fun, but only limited to specific areas, so it's not as engaging as it could be, but still a welcome addition to the platforming. But without a doubt, the most important tool in your arsenal is your sword. The sword gets upgraded through simply defeating enemies, and although the look of it does change, the gameplay remains exactly the same. This ain't a deep game, so there aren't combos per se or anything like that, but you can slice enemies in half and it looks so cool and satisfying. I always loved the animation and sound of it. You can throw them in the air, or just wail on them. That usually works pretty well too. There isn't a lock-on or a dodge button, so things can feel a bit clunky at times. Initially, I was having a really hard time adapting to the combat, and that gave me the impression that this was going to be a tough-as-nails game with an old-school life system that was going to mean a lot of repeating levels over and over if I wasn't careful. But once you get the healing ability, the game becomes pretty forgiving, and I think I ended up losing 2, maybe 3 lives throughout the entire thing. So that was quickly debunked. It turns out it wasn't the deaths that were going to make me repeat the levels, it was the progression itself. To unlock the boss fight of each area, you need a specific belt color, and to upgrade the belt, you need to collect badges by completing levels. And there are never enough of them without replaying the missions. Once you beat a mission, you can replay it with a new objective that rewards you with a badge. These objectives are always collect red coins, time trials, or kill a certain amount of enemies. This was definitely made as padding, and it does drag the overall enjoyment of the game down a bit, especially because there is no way to fast travel to any missions or hubs, which is snooze-inducing to say the least. And some of these are kind of annoying, but you don't need all badges to beat the game, so at least you have the freedom to ignore the levels or objectives you dislike the most. Plus, there are 2 secret challenges in every area, with the exception of the last one, once you beat the boss of it, which, if complete, rewards you with a badge each. These are always the same too, just with varying difficulty. A running level where you occasionally use the grapple to turn, and the monkey ball-like section where you usually have to collect a certain amount of coins and reach the end on time. I gave up on the latter simply because I found them to have a bad fun to frustration ratio, but hey, they're there if you want them. These monkey ball sections show up in certain regular missions, and in there, they are a lot more enjoyable. A pretty amusing detail in one of them is when you're carrying a ball with a heart in it, yes, that does happen, the remote rumbles to the heartbeat, and I just thought that was so neat. These extra challenges are also the only use for the regular coins you collect. Like seriously, the only use. I was so confused for a while on what the coins were for, and to be honest, I was a bit disappointed when I found out, but whatever, it's super inconsequential either way. Once you finally collect enough badges, you can fight the bosses. These fights are all different, with my favorite being the first one, where you have a mecha boxing match with the added detail of visual damage, which I am a sucker for. Unfortunately, the last 2 are pretty weak, with the penultimate being way too drawn out and boring. And we'll come back for the final one soon enough. Every time you beat an area, you unlock a new rage ability, which is essentially your special powers. You have Berserker, which makes you stronger and ignores enemy block, Revive, which heals you, which is the GOAT by the way, Shuriken, which summons a huge shuriken you can ride and hit enemies with, and Eye Ninja, which is basically an invulnerability that also damages enemies around you. The more you fight, the faster these abilities regenerate, and even breaking barrels or cutting random flowers seems to refill it, so you'll get them pretty frequently. They also follow the order I described them in, so you can't use Eye Ninja without filling the entire thing, but Revive only requires half. The game has a good variety of gameplay sections, including the first 3 bosses, but loses steam after that and starts feeling more rushed. The part that seems to have suffered the most with this is the final area. So you finally see the tyrannical Odor, which has been hyped up as so powerful that you need all rage stones to kill him. Turns out he is true to his name and is a nasty little dude who just constantly farts on you.
I hoped that you would be a challenge, but you are slow and weak. Your sensei must be spinning in his grave at your pathetic fighting skills. Stop wasting my time, ninja fool.
But the biggest problem is how easy and boring this fight is. It doesn't do much, and unlike the previous fights, which at least at minimum add a unique section, if not all entirely unique gameplay, you fight him like any other enemy, with him occasionally forcing you back, and that's kind of it. You can grind on some rails in the arena, but I failed to see the use of it other than because you got bored playing, I guess. To top it all off, once you beat the boss and get his rage stone, with its magic you revive the sensei, and immediately after, Odor just revives without the characters knowing, and the game just ends. Considering how long it's been, I doubt we'll see a follow-up to this. Although the plot is not really a big focus, I would still like to see a conclusion to the franchise, but you know how it is. It's starting to feel almost like a catchphrase for this channel, but it's once again about the journey, not the destination. Luckily, the journey is fun, even if it dips a bit by the last missions. They became really long and kinda weird. My least favorite, for example, had you repeat the same thing maybe 4, 8 times, I don't really remember anymore, and I can't be bothered to check, in just one single room. At least the room had an interesting background, but I am never repeating that level ever again. For some reason, they also introduced maybe 2 different new enemies on the last area, which, okay, a bit too late in my opinion, especially considering the enemies are mostly all the same throughout the game with very subtle differences. There are also some mini-bosses, and by some, I mean 2, that get repeated multiple times, so they don't really help much with the variety issue. For these, you jump into space and fight them one-on-one. Not much to say about them, they're fun, just wish they weren't so repetitive. If you so choose, after beating the game, you can unlock a battle arena by collecting all badges. To my knowledge, this is the only endgame content. The combat is not bad, but nowhere near my favorite part of the game, so I didn't see a point in unlocking it myself. Overall, I would say I had fun with iNinja, and I do recommend checking it out. It's even on PC on abandonware sites, so it should be pretty easy to find for your preferred platform. It's not without flaws. I even managed to die once by clipping through the wall, but I think what we got is a charming, fun platformer that deserves more recognition. Who knows, maybe one day we'll see the ending of this angry little ninja's story. But for now, thank you so much for watching, leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and tell me what you think of iNinja, or of the video, or anything at all in the comments, and I hope to see you next time.